Okay, good morning, everybody. We're going to start our Siyum for the fast of the firstborn. So we are going to finish Masechet Eruvin today, and before that, I'll share a couple of reflections, and then we will finish the Masechet. Okay, Masechet Eruvin came into being to answer the very question that we're faced with today. How can we live in community when we are confined to our place of residence? This problem was established during the very first Shabbat that our Israelite ancestors kept in the desert. In Exodus chapter 16, in order not to desecrate Shabbat by carrying in the public domain, Moses instructed the Israelites that on Shabbat each person shall stay where they are, and nobody shall get up from their place. Sounds familiar. Even Moses must have known that that was an untenable situation. As humans, we are drawn to live in community. We have a deep desire to share in the joy of our holidays. We have the deep desire to comfort and be comforted in our grief and to spend our precious time with the ones we love. The laws of Shabbat, as they stand, make it very hard to celebrate in community. We can't carry anything to each other's homes or in public areas. We're limited to the length we are permitted to walk. And this is why the laws of Eruvin came into being, to figure out a way to be able to move fluidly from one place to another and to lengthen the distance that we're allowed to travel on Shabbat. Eruvin is not, as popularly contended, a loophole to circumvent the laws of Shabbat. Rather, Eruvin is a tool to live in community while still honoring Shabbat. This Passover and upcoming Shabbat, we will feel what it's like to have our holidays without our community and without our loved ones by our side. And I feel like it's ironic to finish Masechet Eruvin this year, because Eruvin is all about asserting community, or it would have otherwise been impossible. It's impossible to be together this Passover and upcoming Shabbat. Though still, there is wisdom from Masechet Eruvin that we're going to finish today to guide us to not feel alone. And I'll share two teachings from Eruvin that can guide us in this unprecedented time. So most of Masechet Eruvin can be divided into two categories of laws. The first is mechitzot, laws about partitions, such as walls and doors, and what distinguishes private and public space. The second is eruvin, laws about collections of food that can be used to legally affect where a person brings in Shabbat and who they bring it in with. The first teaching comes from the laws about those collections of food on page 48b. 5 residents who collected bread from each other to make their eruv, and they placed that eruv into 2 containers. Beit Shammai says this is a valid eruv. Beit Hillel says it is not a valid eruv. But even though Beit Hillel deems it an invalid eruv, when the 2 containers are in 2 separate houses, even Beit Hillel would say that it is not a valid eruv. So this teaching is about the fact that we can be together symbolically even when we are not together in person. Because these 5 people have each given a bit of food toward a shared sum, they are now considered to be bringing in Shabbat together in the home where the food is stored. Their joint food stands as a symbol for their relationship. For Beit Hillel, the food must be stored in one house, because this symbolizes the individuals coming together as one unit. In the opinion of Beit Shammai, even the food itself needs to be stored in the same container for the symbolism to be meaningful. Tonight we celebrate a holiday that is all about symbolic foods. No matter where we are, matzah and maror will be present at our meals. Tonight, Jews of our city, along with millions of Jews around the world, will share in this holiday, not in person, but in food. Just as somebody looking at the jars of the shared food from our text would remember that these stand for the community that has been established for that Shabbat, so too we can look at our Seder plates, even alone in our homes, and remember that these foods symbolize our peoplehood like no other food does. When we take that bite of matzah tonight, when we feel the bitterness of the maror, when we declare separately but in one voice that this is the bread of affliction that our ancestors ate in the land of Egypt, we'll assert through our food that we live in community. We learn from Eruvin that food has the power to stand in where people cannot. And tonight, we can let our food remind us of the community that we're a part of, the one with which each of us is intimately bound, even when we are not together in person. The last teaching I'll share before we finish this Masechet comes from the moment that I fell in love with Masechet Eruvin. It was at Camp Ramah in the summer of 2012. Before assuming the responsibility of maintaining the eruv at Camp Ramah Daro, Rabbi Joshua Heller took the time to give me an in-depth tour of the eruv, showing me how every side of the eruv enclosing camp was legally justifiable as a wall. From the creek bed by the camp entrance to the wooden planks and string lining the forested path on the way to the waterfall. Together, we looked at the slope of the hills, the individual branches of trees, the particular spot where the fence of the tennis court ended. I had never looked at my camp this way before. Never had I measured the slope of the creek, never had I considered each tree in the forest, or thought much of the overgrowth behind the tennis courts. I got to know my summer camp, the hills, and the trees, the rocks, and the telephone lines in a deeply personal way. This is what one has to do to set up an eruv. One must go slowly around one's space and get to know one's local topography in a very intentional and personal way. This is the thing I love most about the laws of Eruvin. In order to live out this tractate, one has to know the place they live as well as they know the laws of Eruvin. I've been amazed time and time again by my friend Elliot, who had a hand in designing the Los Angeles eruv, and how well he understands the topography of Los Angeles. Hearing him talk about how walls, though miles apart, actually enclose Lincoln Boulevard, or the fine details of the hills and the architecture of the Hollywood Bowl, it would make my jaw drop listening to the kind of detail he spoke in. I don't believe that anybody understands the highways, the hills, and the buildings and beaches of this beautiful city like Elliot does. And I know many do not understand the creeks and the forests of Ramah Darom like Rabbi Heller does. And it's all because in order to make an eruv, you have to know the finest details of the place around you. During this period, we are confined to our places of residence. And I'd like to invite you to live out this value. While we have the time, get to know your home and your neighborhood. Take a look at every wall and door. Take a look at the trees and flowers, the houses, the roads and sidewalks, and do so like somebody who is building an eruv. Do so as if those details are significant for your spiritual well-being. Passover is an especially auspicious time to get to know one's place. Many of the rituals associated with the holiday are about getting to know one's place. From the intense bidikat chametz, where one takes a candle and looks intently at each and every inch of one's home, to looking for the afikomen, where kids look behind shelves and furniture in spaces typically ignored. Because of this, Passover is the holiday where we call God Hamakom, place. This is the holiday, and in fact, this is the very Masechet that asserts that through rediscovering the space around us, we have the power to rediscover God. It was Moses himself that, preceding his discovery of the divine, said the words, "Let me turn aside and look." I invite you to lean into the values of Passover and Eruvin and take the time to look. to take the time to rediscover and strengthen the relationship with the place that we live in. May we all remain healthy to join together in person for many more holidays and Shabbaton for years to come. Baruch HaMakom Baruch Hu, Baruch Shenatan Torah Le'amo Yisrael. Blessed is the place, blessed is God, blessed is the one who gives Torah to God's people Israel. And let us say, Amen. Okay, we are going to finish Masechet Eruvin now, and then all of our firstborns can eat. I'm going to call my friend Rabbi Adam Rosenthal. He and I have studied this tractate together, and we're finishing it. We're finishing it together today. So we'll give him a call, and we'll finish Masechet Eruvin. Here we go. Hey.
Hey, good morning.
You ready?
I'm ready. I was just watching you, and I'm here with my children, including my Bechorot, whose civil birthday is today, but he actually is not under obligation for another week.
Well, that's lucky for him. Okay, so we're going to start with Shelo Hitiru Lach Ela Mishum Shavut. Right at the end. You ready?
Okay.
Okay, for they've not permitted you to perform the biblical violations in the temple, only that which is prohibited by rabbinic decree. Heichakai, what is Rabbi Shimon referring to? Hatamkai. He is referring to the ruling given there concerning a harp string that broke in the temple. The Ka'amar Tanakama Koshra, because the Tanakama said that one may tie a broken string with a regular knot. But Amarle Rabbi Shimon Onvan. Rabbi Shimon said one may tie it with a bow. Aniva delo ati lidi chiyuv chatat sharule Rabbanan. Tying a bow, which cannot lead to a chatat obligation, is permitted by the rabbis in the temple. Kashira da'ati lide chiyuv chatat lo sharule Rabbanan. But tying a regular knot, even a temporary one, which can lead to a chatat obligation if one forgets himself and ties it permanently, is not permitted by the rabbis in the temple. Hadran alach hamotzei tefillin. We shall return to you hamotzei tefillin. Hadran alach masechet eruvin. Yashikoach to you.
Thank you.
Okay, I'll now recite the Hadran declaration, which we say when we finish a Masechet of Eruvin, a Masechet of Talmud, and then we'll say Kaddish. So I'll read it a little bit in Hebrew, a little bit in English. So Hadran alach Masechet Eruvin v'hadrach alam. We shall return to you, tractate Eruvin, and you shall return to us. Our thoughts are on you, tractate Eruvin, and your thoughts are on us. We will not forget you, tractate Eruvin, and you will not forget us, neither in this world nor in the world to come. May it be your will, Adonai, our God and God of our ancestors, that your Torah be our occupation in this world, and may it remain with us in the world to come. Chanina bar Papa, Rami bar Papa, Nachman bar Papa, Achai bar Papa, Abba Mari bar Papa, Rafram bar Papa, Rachish bar Papa, Surchad bar Papa, Ada bar Papa, Daru bar Papa. Please, Adonai, our God, sweeten the words of your Torah in our mouth and in the mouths of your people, the house of Israel. And may we all, our offspring, the offsprings of our offspring, and the offspring of your people, the house of Israel, all of us know your name and study your Torah. Your commandments make us wiser than our enemies, for it is forever with me. May my heart be perfect in your statutes so that I not be shamed. I will never forget your precepts, for through them you have preserved me. Baruch atah Adonai lamdeni chukecha, amen, 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 selah ba'ed. We express gratitude before you, Adonai, our God and God of our ancestors, that you have established our portion with those who dwell in the house of study, and have not established our portion with idlers. For we arise early, as we are doing this morning, and they arise early. We arise early for the words of Torah, while they arise early for idle words. We toil and they toil. We toil and receive reward, while they toil and do not receive reward. We run and they run. We run to life in the world to come, while they run to the well of destruction. As it is said, but you, O God, you will lower them into the well of destruction. Men of bloodshed and deceit shall not live out half their days, and I will trust in you. May it be your will, Adonai our God, that just as you have helped me complete tractate eruv, so may you help me begin other tractates and books and to complete them, to learn and to teach, to safeguard and to perform and to fulfill all the words of your Torah's teachings with love. May the merit of all the Tanaim, Amoraim, and Torah scholars stand by me and my children, that the Torah shall not depart from my mouth and from the mouth of my children and my children's children forever. May there be fulfilled for me this verse: when you walk, the Torah will guide you. When you lie down, it will watch over you. And when you wake up, it will converse with you. For because of me, the Torah, your days will increase, and years of life will be added to you. Long days are in its right hand, and in its left hand are wealth and honor. Adonai oz le'amo yitain, Adonai yavarech et amo v'shalom. Please join me for the Kaddish. Respond, Amen, etc. Yitzkadal v'yitzkadash shemei rabbah be'amah dihu hatida itchadata v'lechaya'a meitaya v'le'asaka yaton lechaye alma v'lemivnei karta di Yerushalem v'leshach lela hechle begava v'lemekar palchana nuchra'a min aras v'la'atava palchana dishmaya la'atre v'yam lit kucha brichu v'malhute v'yikarei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayedecho beit Yisrael ba'agala v'izman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach le'olam olamei amaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitrama v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei dekucha brichu la'ela min kol berchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechamata da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Al Yisrael ve'al Rabbanan ve'al Talmideho ve'al kol Talmidei Talmideho ve'al kol man da'askim ba'oraita diva atra hadain v'diva chol atar ba'atar yehi lechon uchon shlama rabba china v'chizda v'rachamin v'chaim arichim u'mizonam revicha u'forkana mikodam abohon divishmaya ve'imru amen yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen oseh shalom b'imromav Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Rabbi Rosenthal, Yasher Koach. And Yasher Koach to all of you for joining us this morning. And B'tei Avon to all of our firstborns, a Chag Sameach. I wish you a beautiful, beautiful holiday. And get to know your place, as I said in our drash beforehand. We have a lot of time at home and in our neighborhoods, so we can use it. We can use our time wisely. So with that, Chag Sameach, and see you on our holidays.